mark coming in. What would J.J. McCARTHY look like coming off of injury, and what sort of urgency would there be required after seeing what Sam Darnold's doing, seeing what Daniel Jones is doing, seeing what this team did without him? What did you make of his first performance back,
He did exactly what was needed to do. He went out there and won the football game. He showed incredible toughness. He showed resilience coming back from an injury. He used his legs. He used his arms. He got the ball to his superstar, Justin Jefferson. T.J. Hawkinson's another one. Then Jalen Naylor, another guy. We don't know his name. We're learning now, but it's because a guy like J.J. McCARTHY trusted him, gave him the opportunity, regardless of who it was in that moment. He knew where the football needed to go, and he delivered it. Gutsy performance by J.J. McCARTHY. The Vikings have something to be excited about.
There was a lot of static around McCARTHY after we saw him jump over a ball carrier a week ago when he was the third emergency quarterback, and then we saw the performance prior to the shoulder injury. There was a lot of bad press, for lack of a better term, around Minnesota and maybe the handling of this ankle injury. Vindication here in the performance and how clean he looked and how ready he looked to perform.
Yeah, perhaps. I think it's more, honestly, a commentary on the media that we all had to have a take after his first game where he played 3 bad quarters and then won the game against Chicago. And then after the second game where we were all ready to say, nope, he's going to be a bust. Oh, they made a huge mistake. And until he could get healthy, he couldn't prove anyone wrong or right. He had to get right. And his head coach, Kevin O'Connell, who is widely considered to be one of the better quarterback coaches in the entire NFL, he said, I'm not going to screw this guy up. I'm not going to throw him back out there when he's not ready. And you all can believe in your conspiratorial minds that this is a soft benching or whatever it is, but he was taking care of his guy.
Yeah.
And he has a good long track record, both verbally and with his own actions, of how he cares about young quarterbacks. And so what did we see today? We saw a balanced attack from the Minnesota Vikings offense where they had 30 dropbacks. That included 5 sacks. They ran the ball, I think, 27 or so times when you take away the kneel downs. So it was balanced. It was 50-50 more or less. That is what you need when you have a young quarterback who's trying to find a rhythm, who's trying to gain some confidence. And it also helps when your defense led by Brian Flores gets the other team to have 5 3-and-outs in the game.
Part of taking care of your guys, making sure there's the right portion on his plate. Did this look like a fully opened playbook to you? Balance, yes, but in terms of the looks that J.J. McCARTHY was able to get to?
Fully open, hard to say. I think the biggest thing coming out of this game was that J.J. McCARTHY looked healthy. Sometimes quarterback, high ankle sprain, right? You don't want to rush back on that. So much of what quarterbacks are able to do, J.J. McCARTHY's able to do, prides himself on getting out of the pocket, making some plays, did a good job with his feet today, had a rushing touchdown. Thought he was accurate for the most part, threw it pretty well, made the good decisions. They played complementary defense today as well. The defense, Minnesota, 5 sacks. Detroit, 5 of 7 on third down, and they held that rushing attack to 3 yards per carry. So Brian Flores and this defense on the other side of the ball, way to help out your young quarterback.
27-24, a rare loss here for the Detroit Lions, who we know the infrastructure is there to bounce back and continue to be one of the top teams, not just in the NFC, but in the league. What does this loss do in the midst of a season to recenter a team?
Motivates them. I mean, we saw this team lose earlier in the year, and we thought, oh, well, maybe the Detroit Lions are going to go back to being the same Detroit Lions of old. They righted that wrong. They came back. They bounced back stronger than ever. I fully expect them to do that. One, they've got the head coach in Dan Campbell that can get it done. He can motivate these guys to self-reflect, watch the tape, look themselves in the mirror, and identify, hey, you know what? I didn't do this right. David Montgomery is a perfect example. He's a veteran guy in this league. He's played a lot of football. The costly fumble. He's going to show that in front of the team, not to call David Montgomery out, but to show this is our leader. He put the ball on the ground, and that is something that equates to losing football. We cannot do that, because if he does it, and then you take a turn, and then you take a turn, and then you take a turn, well, guess what? If we run 60 plays and everybody takes a turn screwing the play up, dropping the ball, putting the ball on the ground, that's 11 mistakes out of 60 plays right there.
Yeah.
That's not winning football. They're going to correct these things. They're going to continue to try to get Jameson Williams more acclimated into the offense. They kept the Ferrari in the garage for far too long, relying on over-reliable Amon-Ra St. Brown, the pickup truck. Sometimes you got to let the Ferrari out, but they're going to get this done. They've got the players, the guys, and the coaches to do it.
Sometimes a loss like this can be the biggest motivator, too. I mean, what have we seen out of the Kansas City Chiefs the last few weeks after a rough start to the season? They're just ripping off wins, destroying everybody, playing really well. I don't really have any level of concern with this Detroit team right now. We've kind of seen it over the years. This is the NFL, that division. It's tough. It's physical. These are the kind of games that you kind of expect when the Vikings and the Lions play each other. They've got playmakers everywhere on offense. Defense is coming along. Aiden Hutchinson is back playing like Aiden Hutchinson. So back to the drawing board. They'll recoup this game for the next 24 hours, figure out what they need to improve on, and got another one next week.
Ferrari or Raptor, I know, is often your conundrum, Jonathan Jones.
It typically is. Here's a conundrum. They're 5-3 right now. They just had a bye, so they came off the bye and lost this game. That's not great. I just saw your face, David. That's not great. And then you look at the schedule and what they have coming up. They are not going to be at home these next 2 weeks. They go to Washington, and then they go to Philadelphia. So Washington, I think we may take Detroit in that game. Washington could win that game. And then facing the Philadelphia Eagles, there is a realistic path, as crazy as it sounds right now, and I'm not trying to overreact to them losing a close game to a divisional opponent. There's a realistic path to them being 5-5 2 weeks from now, right? I mean, so this is just one of those, take care of yourself right now, because you should not have looked the way that you did today coming off the bye.
It's the greatest choose-your-own-adventure on TV. NFL football never disappoints. A jam-packed slate here. And we got one more to show you here from the 1 p. Eastern kicks. Coming up, Green Bay rolling out the barrel as we take a look first at some numbers. J.J. McCARTHY finished strong, and, we're counting quarters on this kid, but you can count a W here against the big-time divisional opponent.
Welcome to State Farm Postgame for the highlights, and there's been a lot of upsets so far here. Let's start with Detroit hosting Minnesota.
All right, J.J. McCARTHY returns after missing 5 games with an ankle injury. A big day today, 2 touchdown passes. Beautiful catch here by Jefferson, who had 6 for 47 yards on the day. That's a 10-yarder. We're tied at 7 all, and then McCARTHY keeps it, takes it in from 9 yards out. Nice job by him. Everybody drops off, and he takes it. There you go, Minnesota on the road. 27-24 over division rival Detroit Lions.
Yeah, Minnesota gets back to 500. What a day for McCARTHY. He missed those 5 games, comes back, throws 2 touchdown passes, and gets a conversation with another former Michigan quarterback, Tom Brady,
today's
the LFG
player of the game, J.J. McCARTHY. Great performance by you guys coming on the road. What is it about the state of Michigan where you're able to come in here and perform like the way you do?
It's a great state, and there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears shed in this state. And it's always great seeing the old fans and the old relationships that you kind of continue along the way. And it's just a great atmosphere. The crowd was electric, and we definitely fed off that tonight.
Yeah, they sure were. You guys did so many things to kind of stunt their momentum in special teams. But how did you feel missing the last 5 games, coming out here? How did you find your rhythm here early in the first half? I thought it was a great first half you played.
I really appreciate it. It was all about just, focusing on the little things, focusing on the things I can control. The procedure in and out of the huddle, the procedure at the line of scrimmage. How's my footwork? How's the decision making, the ball security? All those little things just prevent all the anxiety and nerves, because I just get to go out there and focus on, the things I can control and, see what happens at the end of this thing, and turned out our way.
Yeah, you did a great job in the last throw of the game sealing first down to Naylor on the sideline. Just talk me through that throw and the decision to make such a great throw.
I saw Speedy was one-on-one, and it was a matter of time for him to get that moment, and I knew he was ready for it, so I just popped it up for him and let him do the rest. The offensive line did a tremendous job blocking, and Coach O'Connell called a great play. So just tremendous, respect, and honored that he trusted me in that moment, and we got it done. So, yeah, it was great.
Great job. You guys are back to 500, resets the whole division. Congratulations. Enjoy the flight home.
Thank you so much, Tom. Appreciate it.
There you go.
He took more than just a way to play from Tom Brady. Your impression of not only the way McCARTHY played, but the offensive game plan, knowing he was coming back from injury?
Well, first of all, very impressed because he had not played well prior to his injury. Then laying off 5 weeks and watching Wentz play, and then basically being forced back in, maybe early. I doubt it, though. But I was very impressed today. He showed a lot of poise. I always tell Howie, I always look at their footwork. You heard him talk about the little things. Those are the things you look at. Their happy feet. You're not comfortable in the pocket. You're not trusting people around them. And I thought today, very calm. I thought getting him out of the pocket was smart. Tried to run the football. But the big catch by Jefferson, the one-hander, and start the game off, that'll settle a young quarterback down quickly.
Much smoother than I think he's ever looked, really. In special teams, Tom talked about the job they did in special special teams, their defense. Brian Flores brought the pressure, and it was a lot
knew
of
it was coming.
Those linebacker X kind of stunts in the middle. They brought pressure. They were never really comfortable. He was never really comfortable. They got 5 sacks today. I think that was big. I think the offensive line played better. Were they great? No, they gave up 5 sacks, but.
Yeah, I think J.J. McCARTHY, once again, that last 4-minute drive, that's a tough drive. And just to reiterate to people, it's so hard when you're in the developmental process of your career and to miss five weeks. Those guys aren't coming. He's not coming back playing week 2 guys. He's playing mid-season form guys, and he hasn't had any reps with the offense. That was a really impressive game by J.J. McCARTHY. I was really impressed.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the stat line. It's not like it jumps off the chart, but he made the throws he needed to make, made the plays he needed to make, ran when he needed to run. The running game was over 100 yards of rushing, so that really helped. And I got to say, for a young guy to step up, it really was impressive to watch him because you're going to Detroit. It's a tough place to play. Big division game against a team that's one of the hottest teams in the league, one of the hottest defenses in the league. He did get sacked 5 times, but they got 5 sacks. We kind of balance this stuff out. But he had such incredible composure for a young guy on the road in such a big game.
And the key you said was when they needed to make a big play, he made it. And then your quarterback, you want to say, oh, my guy can make the play when I need it. And that's huge. That last pass, that thing of beauty.
All right, so Minnesota wins in Detroit. The NFC North got very interesting today because of what happened to the leader, Green Bay, as they were home taking on the Carolina.
37 and a stunner is the Cincinnati Bengals, 42. And how about Flacco? 4 touchdown passes today, 470 yards passing.
Hey, how about J.J. McCARTHY? He's our State Farm moment of the day. 3 total touchdowns and a big road win over the Detroit Lions as he gets the Vikings back to 500 and within a game in the win column of first place in the NFC North. So don't write them off just yet. Much more to come here as we continue on the State Farm postgame show. I want to talk to you. And, Jules, we talked about it in the pregame show, this Pittsburgh defense. Usually you can count on it. Not this year. Suddenly they show up. You got Indy, who's got the best record in the league, the best offense in the league, the highest scoring team. 6 turnovers.
We are 2-0 in the NFC North. And in both games, I finished handing the football. All right, the last game ball to this guy. And that same thing goes for you. It's been a long road back. Nobody wants to be on the grass more than you. This team is riding with you. All right, riding with you. You're going to prove this now.
McCarthy in a trance there?
Like Halloween, man.
He was locked into it. Let's get your final thoughts, starting with you, Julia.
Yeah, how about these Patriots starting 7-2? I think the preseason over and under for them was 4.5. Drake May. I talked about him being the MVP in the midseason. He went 19 for 29, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, did have an interception, did have 6 sacks. But to go out in that last drive, in that 4-minute situation where they needed to get a first down and they get the first down, that's a great situation for a young football team trying to build.
I'm going to go Carolina Panthers. They haven't gotten a lot of love in a lot of years, so you just got to give them some love to go on the road, beat a good Green Bay team who possibly could argue be the best in the league on the road and being second in the division. Congratulations to those young guys.
Yeah, the NFC North is just kind of muddled up a little bit more. Detroit loses today to the Vikings. Vikings kind of 1 game out of that kind of race. And Green Bay also drops a game today.
I'm going to go with Leveland, the Bears. Great job by that young tight end, but primarily Pittsburgh's defense creating 6 turnovers today. Shock.